At the ongoing 79th session of the UN General Assembly, Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, has joined Under Secretary General and Special Advisor to the UN Secretary General on the Prevention of Genocide, Alice Warimu Nderitu, for a fireside chat on addressing the dangers of hate speech. During the discussion, the minister responded to the issues of dealing with genocide denial and bring perpetrators to justice. Let's take a look at the interview.
After the genocide happens, we do know that the court processes that deal with the crime of genocide, so the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia, the Nuremberg courts, they can only deal with very few people. That majority of the perpetrators of genocide are not held to account. To kill 1 million people in Rwanda means that more than 1 million, or maybe close to 1 million people were involved in the genocide, and so many of them were not brought to account. And so they then continue propagating genocide now after it has already happened. So I'm asking Excellency, and I know that this is something that has affected the community that was targeted for genocide in Rwanda, about genocide denial. What is it that we can do? What can be done better? How do we counter genocide denial?
Thank you. Genocide denial is a real issue, and actually all genocides have their own deniers. You mentioned the Holocaust, the genocide in Srebrenica and others, and we believe, as it was said, some of the scholars of genocide, that is the last stage of the crime itself. Because those who committed it propagate this theory of it didn't exist, or it didn't exist as they say. So, but we are facing it now. We have many denials of genocide. At the national level, in Rwanda, of course, we are raising awareness. There is the remembrance of the genocide, the activities that we do for Kwibuka, for the annual remembrance, to educate also that young population, to tell them about the danger of hate speech, of denying a crime that was committed and established by international jurisdictions. But also we have a law that criminalizes genocide ideology, including genocide denial and minimization. Then, at the international level, this is actually where we have the most difficulties, I would say, because there's also remembrance. The same activities that we do at the national level, we do that at the international level, remembrance with the genocide memorials, with the education of our community, but also of local young people, so that they know about the genocide. But then they mentioned the issue of justice. It's a bit, we have difficulties in that regard. Yes, there was the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, which indicted, I would say, only the masterminds, some of the officials. I think 96 persons were indicted. But we have the genocide that was committed against the Tutsi in Rwanda was organized by, of course, an administration, people who could flee to Europe, to North America, to faraway countries. So then, and we have sent now more than 1,100 arrest warrants against those people in 33 different countries. But very, very few of them were acted upon. And it's still a challenge. Now, 30 years later, we still have a huge challenge. We always say about Western countries, but even in Africa, we have big challenge of having people prosecuted, because we believe in that principle, that legal principle, aut dedere aut judicare, either extradite or prosecute in your country. So, and then we have really, I would say, disappointing feedback from a number of countries, and then those are precisely the people that are propagating hate speech and genocide denial everywhere. And now since we have 30 years have passed, those people are aging because they were officials. They are now in their 70s and their 80s. We had this case that was disappointing, of course, in The Hague, that mechanism, residual mechanism that replaced the ICTR, the case of Kabuga, Félicien Kabuga, who was the financier of the genocide, a rich man who financed the genocide, and then who was actually the chairperson of that hate radio, RTLM. He can no more be tried in The Hague because he had dementia. He's, I think, almost 90 years. And we have several cases of those people who are in their 80s and 90s who will soon not be able to be prosecuted because there is a lack of action of the countries that should be acting to prosecute those people. So it's something that we need to act, and we are continuing engaging several countries in that regard.